All right, today we're going to be dissecting a truly disruptive philosophical force, the Jester. Now, this isn't your typical prophet, coming down from the heavens. No, he emerges from the depths, and his whole purpose is to absolutely shatter a world that's gotten way, way too comfortable with itself. So let's just dive right in with a pretty challenging question, one that really gets to the core of what the Jester is all about. What if your happiness was a weakness? Think about that for a second. He forces us to look at what we call contentment and ask, is this actually the biggest thing holding us back from our true potential? And this line just perfectly captures his whole deal. He's not here to save anybody. He's not offering comfort or some kind of salvation. Nope, he's here to shock us, to hit us with a truth that is, yeah, terrifying, but also maybe incredibly liberating. Okay, so to really get why the Jester's arrival is so explosive, we first have to understand the world he's stepping into. And honestly, it's completely stuck. It's a world just paralyzed, caught between two extremes that have both failed. So picture this. On one hand, you've got Wutan's living monument. It's this world of glorious but cold, sterile isolation. Think of it like a beautiful but totally lifeless statue. Then, on the other hand, you've got Mephistopheles' Tower of Inferno. This is just cynical rule from a throne of ash, pure burnt-out chaos. And the thing is, neither path leads anywhere. Humanity is just trapped in this massive metaphysical stalemate. And what's the result of this big stalemate? Well, you get a society that's basically traded its will to strive, its ambition, for total security. It's a society of comfortable, cowardly living. Humanity has become what the Jester scathingly calls the flies of the marketplace, just buzzing around totally content with this exhausted, tiny, and above all, safe existence. So into this swamp of stagnation, a new force arrives. But here's the kicker. He's not coming down from on high. The high places, well, they've become rotten with all that comfort. No, this prophet, he comes from the depths. And you've got to understand, the Jester isn't some benevolent teacher here to hand out easy answers. He's a radical individualist, a mountain man of self-love. He's a torchbearer, but not to warm the herd. He's here to create incendiaries, to set things on fire. And it's all driven by what he calls a new, dangerous selfishness. See, his whole philosophy isn't about reflecting the world back at itself or about pleasing other people. Forget that. It's about becoming a source of light and heat yourself. As the quote says, his heart is no longer a mirror for others, but a conflagration. It's a raging fire, a sun that creates its own light, its own world. And what's he do with this fire? His main goal is to force a confrontation. He holds up this dangerous and grinning mirror right to the face of modern man. He wants to show humanity exactly what it's become: small, safe, and cowardly. And there's no easy escape. There's no salvation offered, just the shocking, unavoidable reflection of the truth. All right, so now we get to the really fun part. The Jester isn't here to debate. He's not trying to persuade anyone with clever arguments. No, he comes with a hammer. He's here to shatter the old values, the very foundations of this comfortable world. So you know that idea of greatness, this concept of the overman or a higher state of being? The Jester completely rejects the notion that it's some kind of reward. Like, it's not a prize you get for being a good person and following all the rules. That whole way of thinking, he says, that's for the herd. So if he doesn't offer a reward, what does he offer? He offers an abyss. That's it. The path to becoming something more isn't some gentle staircase to heaven. It's a terrifyingly thin rope stretched over a massive chasm. On one side is our comfortable, safe animal past. On the other, a future of dangerous, completely uncertain becoming. And how do you even begin to cross that rope? Well, you're going to need a whole new kind of virtue, and that virtue is contempt. Yeah, you heard me. He preaches contempt as a virtue, a powerful, healthy disdain for all the smallness, the safety, that so-called happiness that society holds up as the ultimate goal. For him, this contempt isn't ugly. It's a noble and absolutely necessary act. And here's where he really brings out the hammer. Just look at how he systematically smashes the old moral foundations with what you could call his inverted beatitudes. I mean, look at this table. It's not blessed are the meek, it's blessed are the despisers. It's not about forgiving others, it's about demanding mercilessness from yourself. And he doesn't say pity the suffering, he says woe upon the comfortable. This isn't a morality for the flock anymore. This is a morality for predators. So, okay, he's torn down the old world. He smashed the old values with his hammer. What's next? Well, now the Jester turns to his ultimate purpose, which is way, way more difficult. And this is so important. He completely, utterly rejects the role of a guru or a teacher. He doesn't want followers. In fact, his single greatest demand is that his companions achieve total, radical independence. He literally tells them, lose me and find yourselves. The best gift you can possibly give him is to leave him behind and find your own way. So he's done talking to the masses. He's resolved to stop speaking to the herd. And so he chooses new companions, but they're not people. No, they're his own internal strengths. His proud will, which he symbolizes with the eagle, and his cunning wisdom, symbolized by the serpent. Those are his partners now. And this idea right here, this is the absolute cornerstone of his new path. It's called Amar Fati, which means a love of one's fate. And it's described as a terrible love for a reason, because it means you embrace everything that happens to you. The good, the bad, the suffering, the joy, you embrace it all. Not just as something you have to tolerate, but as something that is necessary and beautiful. So when you get right down to it, his true quest isn't for disciples who will just follow him around. He's searching for something way, way rarer. He's looking for fellow creators, for equals. He's looking for other people who are strong enough to join him in this incredibly lonely, monumental task of building entirely new values out of the ashes of the old world. And this just sums up his impact perfectly. He's a catalyst. Think of him like a lightning bolt that just cracks down and strikes his stagnant pond. He's not trying to light the way for the fish in the pond. Not at all. His sudden, violent heat forces a choice. You either evolve into something that can actually survive the fire, or you perish, boiled alive in the very water of your own comfort. Which really just leaves us with one final question, a question that his entire existence kind of poses to us. You know, he learns from the tightrope walker that falling isn't a tragedy, it's a noble risk. So the question he leaves for us is this: would you dare to embrace that joyful burden of the fall? Would you risk everything for the chance to become something more?